Okay, I'm here with Rhys Waters from Outpost East, Podstarter.io, and Canadian Politics is Boring podcast. Rhys, you were born and bred in Wales, and now you moved to Canada. Do you find it strange sort of moving over there and starting in business? And what type of things do they do differently?
It was strange because all the work that I'd done in Wales was kind of completely unknown in Canada. So it's kind of like starting from scratch in that sense, and had to really go back onto the core kind of things of any startup where you just focus on, offering something different and doing a really good job and kind of trying to make those impressions, every impression count in a good way. In terms of the differences, I think the part of Canada I'm in is very similar to Wales. It's kind of a smaller community where most of the half the population lives in an urban area, half the population lives in a more rural space. So there weren't too many differences, but at the same time, some of the differences were huge. Like setting up a business is different. You need to get a lawyer involved. You can't just kind of set your company up online. Getting to know the system, the tax system, how people like to. Everyone uses different terms for things, for like invoicing, and the banking is different. So a lot of the time it was kind of learning industry lingo and familiarizing yourself with a different kind of system of government and banking and taxation. But ultimately, the core elements of setting up a business, setting up a startup were almost exactly the same in that sense.
Rhys, how would you say that businesses in Wales can work with businesses globally, so Canada and the rest of the world?
I guess is looking at the kind of unique things that Wales or business in Wales can add and can offer that you can't get anywhere else. And that could be anything, I guess. It could be where the business is based. It could be the kind of people involved. It could be the kind of products you're making. I think that businesses shouldn't be afraid to look internationally. I think that often it is almost like a mental barrier that there's something daunting about trying to grow internationally in that sense, and having kind of transitioned to moving into to a different country and setting up business here. A lot of the time, people. If you can turn up to a new marketplace and really offer them something of value that is different, that they can't get in that territory themselves, that's where the real opportunities are. So I think that keep an open mind and keep looking for those opportunities in a way that you may have been slightly hesitant to or afraid to. And I know that when I was in Wales, the Assembly used to help with trade missions and help build kind of an idea of what those opportunities were for businesses. So I'd say they should make the most of all those schemes that they have and the kind of information they can get to kind of see how they can use what they're doing and how they're doing it as a real advantage, I guess.
Rhys, one of your main businesses is podcasting, and we know there's been a massive boom in podcasting, especially over in the UK recently. How do you think the podcasting can help someone's business?
I would say that having a podcast and having a business, if someone has listened to your podcast or has listened to, even if it's one episode, they will feel like they already know you to a certain extent when they meet you. They already know how you talk. They know your sense of humor. They know the tone. The kind of personality you have comes across in a podcast. Is a really authentic way of communicating. So if you do build a show and they have listened and then they take the step to kind of meet you or would like to meet you, there's no kind of awkward introduction. It's only awkward for you because this person knows you better than you imagine because they've heard you talk in a podcast. So I'd say it's a really good way of sharing who you are, what you're doing in an authentic way, and attracting people who like that in that sense, and can really buy into what you're doing. And it really fast tracks that relationship in terms of getting people to really buy into what you're doing and the person you are.
With so many different podcasts starting up and so many established ones out there at the moment, what advice would you give for someone who's starting a podcast, and what can they do to make it unique and stand out from all of the rest?
I think that like the stats on how many podcasts there are vary from like 1.5 million podcasts, but like only up maybe 400,000 are actually still posting. Some of those shows are just dead shows that are still there, but no one's and even then, like even if there was 1.5 million podcasts, there's like over 500 million blogs, and there are like God knows how many hundreds and hundreds of million YouTube channels. Nobody says don't write a blog or don't do a YouTube channel. There's still huge opportunities in podcasting, and it's growing, but it hasn't it's not saturated by any means. It's just warming up, if anything. And I think that for people to really stand out when they launch a podcast, you've got to, I genuinely think the podcasts that grow are the podcasts that have a genuine reason for being there. Not, I have a podcast because I think I should have a podcast. You go, I have a podcast because nobody else in the world is having this conversation and I really need to talk about it. Those are the shows that build audiences, and those are the shows that get people excited because they're like, I found a place that I can't do this anywhere else. I can't celebrate this thing I love, or this is so important and no one in kind of like the media or in press or any books have ever talked about it this way. And you can even go to places where it is busy. It might be a genre that is really oversubscribed, like true crime, but who said you can't tell those stories in a completely new way from your unique perspective? I think you've just got to be true to your kind of hunger or your passion around that topic that you're looking to kind of cover, and really embrace that and make it unique in that sense.
Well, Rhys, look, it's been absolutely amazing having you on. That was a really inspiring talk, and I had a lot of fun doing that. We should definitely do this again soon. Rhys Waters, everybody. Rhys, take care, and we'll see you again.
Thank you so much.